Lewis Hamilton dropped a line in Austin that changed the conversation across the paddock, and if you follow F1 closely, you felt the shift instantly. He spoke calmly, with that quiet authority you've come to expect, and called the Christian Horner rumours distracting and unhelpful. Not a shouty takedown, but a measured intervention that put focus back where it belongs, on the work in the garage and on-track performance. When a driver of his stature publicly backs the existing leadership, it isn't just a comment. It's a signal to engineers, to mechanics, and to unsettled teammates that the job is still the job, and that outside noise won't be allowed to derail a season. Inside Ferrari, the effect was immediate. Chatter about who might walk through Maranello's doors faded a touch. Meeting room conversations shifted back to setup, tyre management, and sprint strategy, and the headlines, at least for a little while, had to look elsewhere for drama. That's the power of someone who's been in the sport long enough to know how words echo. Hamilton didn't throw personal attacks. He framed the issue as a distraction and reminded everyone that stability matters right now. For you watching, that moment matters because it changes the lens through which every subsequent story will be read. Is Ferrari really tearing itself apart, or are pundits amplifying a whisper for clicks? Here's a quick question for the comments. Do you think drivers should publicly weigh in on team leadership? Yes or no? Tell me your vote in the comments and why in one short sentence. I'll pin the best answers. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to keep up with every twist as the season unfolds, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're pushing to 2,000 subscribers, and every new sub helps us keep delivering sharp, fast coverage. Also hit like if Hamilton's stance surprised you. It helps the video reach more fans who care about the real story. To understand why his statement landed so hard and fast, it helps to rewind a little and see where the rumour mill actually started, because the backstory explains why a single sentence from a driver could quiet a paddock for hours. Christian Horner's exit from Red Bull wasn't a quiet retirement. It came with a very large settlement that officially freed him to return to the paddock if he wanted to, and that's the uncomfortable truth sitting behind all the recent whispers. Right after that settlement news, pieces began to appear, suggesting Horner had been sounded out by several outfits and that his name was quietly circulating around Maranello as talk of potential replacements for Ferrari's leadership grew. Now, the key point you need to keep front of mind. Ferrari publicly handed Fred Vasseur a multi-year extension this summer, signalling that the team has already formally endorsed the current leadership, which makes the Horner speculation a strange mismatch with Ferrari's official position. Reporters in Austin and elsewhere have noted that neither Horner nor Ferrari have made an on-the-record confirmation about any approach, so a lot of what you've seen so far is still being driven by unnamed sources and secondary reporting rather than clear statements from the people involved. At the same time, insiders and multiple outlets pointed out that Horner is free to start talking to teams and that several groups have at least opened lines of communication with him, which is why the speculation picked up so quickly once his settlement became public. So how did that translate into the noise you saw on social feeds and in the paddock? First, a high-profile name like Horner arriving on anyone's rumour list acts like a magnet for clicks. It's dramatic, it's plausible because of his track record, and it plays to the what-if fantasy every headline loves. Second, the mixture of confirmed facts, Horner's settlement, Vasseur's extension, and unconfirmed chatter, who might have spoken to whom, created a gap, and the media filled that gap fast. For you, the viewer, that means you'll see a blend of reliable reporting and plain speculation sitting side by side. When you read an article that says sources say or is understood to have, treat that as useful context but not proof. I want to know what you think. Which source do you trust most for F1 rumours? Mainstream outlets? A. Seasoned paddock reporters? B. Or social media scoops and leaks? C. Drop A, B, or C in the comments and tell me in one sentence why. I'll pin the best answers. If you're finding this useful and want the quickest updates as this story develops, subscribe and ring the bell. Again, every new subscriber helps us reach our 2,000 subscriber goal and allows us to bring you quicker, clearer breakdowns. Inside Ferrari, the past few months have felt like walking a tightrope. The team hasn't won a race this season. Tension between the drivers has quietly built, and the media spotlight never really leaves Maranello. When those Horner rumours began swirling, they hit a team already under enormous pressure to prove it's heading in the right direction. That's why Hamilton's words carried so much weight, because they didn't come from corporate spin or PR strategy. They came from a driver who's seen what chaos does to a team and knows exactly how quickly it can spread if it's not checked. By stepping in publicly and defending Fred Vasseur, Hamilton wasn't just protecting a colleague, he was protecting Ferrari's structure. He's worked with Vasseur before and knows the value of consistency when trying to rebuild a championship contender. In his view, this isn't the time to gamble on new leadership or chase another quick fix. Ferrari needs time, not turmoil. Inside the factory, sources described Hamilton's comments as a morale boost. Engineers and staff reportedly felt reassured that someone with his stature had their back. It was like a reminder from the top: focus on progress, ignore the noise, keep pushing. Still, it's worth remembering how fragile this balance is. Ferrari is trying to rebuild its confidence after another inconsistent year. The SF25 has shown flashes of pace, but every step forward seems to come with two sideways. Some in the paddock argue that stability isn't just a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. Rebuilding trust between departments, drivers, and leadership takes time, and constant speculation only makes that job harder. That's why Hamilton's statement wasn't just another quote. It was a rallying cry to his own team. Unity over drama, performance over politics. Now, if you were inside Ferrari, what would you value more right now? A big-name boss like Horner coming in to shake things up, or steady leadership that sticks to a long-term plan? Type your answer in the comments and tell me why. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to Fast News F1 and hit the notification bell. Your subscription really helps us grow and reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers, so we can keep cutting through the noise like this. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it becomes obvious why leadership talk matters so much right now. Formula One is standing on the edge of a massive transition. The 2026 regulations, new engine architecture, and a reshuffling of technical partnerships that could redefine the competitive order. For teams like Ferrari, stability isn't just a buzzword, it's the foundation of future success. Every decision made today, from leadership structure to driver trust, ripples straight into that new era. That's exactly why Hamilton was so firm in shutting down the Horner rumours. He understands how damaging uncertainty can be when an organisation is trying to plan 2 years ahead. If you followed the sport for a while, you know how easily gossip can derail progress. Engineers start wondering whether their work will even matter in a few months, sponsors get nervous, drivers lose focus, and before long, you're fighting headlines instead of your rivals. Hamilton's message, that Ferrari doesn't need chaos, it needs unity, wasn't just about the moment. It was a reminder that leadership continuity can be the difference between building a title contender or starting over every season. Imagine 3 possible futures. Scenario 1. Horner joins Ferrari. He brings experience, but the team resets yet again. New hierarchy, new philosophies, new tension. Scenario 2. Vasseur stays with Hamilton fully behind. Him, it's slower, steadier. But the team culture solidifies around trust and consistency. Scenario 3. The rumours keep flying and no one truly leads, leaving Ferrari stuck in limbo while Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes charge ahead. Out of those, which do you think gives Ferrari the best shot at fighting for titles again? Comment below 1, 2, or 3. I'm really curious to see where you stand. Hamilton has always seen the long game. He's not defending Vasseur for personal reasons, he's defending the process. You can sense he knows that Ferrari's next era can't be built on panic moves or reactionary headlines. His refusal to engage with gossip was strategic. It protected morale and sent a clear message to the media that Ferrari's rebuilding phase doesn't need speculation. If you're enjoying this kind of deep dive and want to keep up as we head toward 2026, make sure you're subscribed and have that bell turned on. Every new subscriber helps us reach our 2,000 subscriber goal and ensures you don't miss any of the inside stories shaping F1's future. Hamilton's words in Austin didn't just silence a rumour, they reshaped Ferrari's focus heading into the crucial final stretch of the season. After days of speculation, his calm but firm statement turned the spotlight away from gossip and back toward performance, exactly where it needed to be. Inside Maranello, the tone reportedly changed almost overnight. Conversations that had been drifting toward management politics pivoted back to tyre data, sprint points, and how to end the season strong. It's the kind of subtle shift you only notice if you've been around this sport long enough to see how fragile team morale can be when outside noise gets too loud. What's most fascinating is that Hamilton's move also sent a message far beyond Ferrari. In a paddock addicted to drama, he reminded everyone what leadership looks like: clear, controlled, and rooted in purpose. No personal attacks, no theatrics, just focus. That's why so many inside the sport called his statement a leadership masterclass. He knows every word carries weight, especially coming from a 7-time world champion trying to rebuild one of the most legendary teams in motorsport. Instead of letting the narrative control him, he took control of it. And that's a skill that separates champions from the rest. For you as a fan, this moment says something important about where Ferrari is heading. The team doesn't want to play defense anymore. It wants to own its story. That's the real power of Hamilton's intervention. It allowed Ferrari to breathe again. Now, instead of asking who's replacing who, the conversation is back to how do they win again? So here's a quick engagement. Should teams publicly shut down rumours like this? Or is it better to ignore them altogether? Vote in the card now and tell me your thoughts in the comments. I'll read through and feature some of the best takes in the next video. And while you're there, drop your prediction. Do you think Ferrari finishes the season with at least one podium? I'll be checking answers before the next race weekend. To sum up, Hamilton didn't just respond to a rumour, he reset the conversation. By defending the leadership that Ferrari has chosen, he gave the team permission to focus on what matters: performance on track, not politics in the press. The long-term stakes are clear. With the sport heading into a new technical era, continuity and trust can be the engine of future success, while distraction and indecision can hand advantage to rivals. If you want to keep following how this unfolds, official responses from Ferrari, any comment from Horner, and whether the team's performance reflects this restored focus, make sure you're subscribed to Fast News F1 and have that notification bell turned on. Every subscription helps us reach our 2,000 subscriber goal and keeps this channel growing, so we can keep bringing you fast, reliable F1 coverage. Finally, before you go, tell me in one sentence what you think Ferrari's priority should be right now. Stability, a bold leadership shake-up, or concentrating purely on car development? And I'll pin the most thoughtful reply. Thanks for watching and stay tuned. The paddock moves fast, but with moments like Austin, we get a glimpse of what true leadership looks like and why it matters for every lap that follows.